So what is the impetus for the form's development?
Well, there's a need for us to have required documentation, a central location that's easily accessible by everybody that might need access to it. It replaces paper copies that we had before that were bulky and a lot harder to access.
So what need did it serve?
Well, quite a few. The biggest being, both policy and legislative issues that we came against. Basically having it in place made it much more efficient to comply with those policies and legislation.
Who uses it?
A lot of people. It could be senior administration. It could be any kind of people leader in the district, whether that's the management team of the district or school leadership. For example, if you click on the drills completed tab, you'll see in there, and this is something that helps my director, Sean Tracy, the director of admin and finance, to basically make sure that the schools are in compliance with fire marshals. Making sure they're completing drills as they should.
What is unique about this form?
Well, it's ease of access, and basically allowing it to be accessed online. Our old system being paper copy, they could be stored out on a server somewheres, but not very efficiently. This allowed anybody that needed to access it, whether and I didn't mention before, even could be the police, getting access to emergency information for schools so that we can better support them through some sort of an emergency situation. It also allows us to carry information forward as opposed to having to reinvent the wheel every time we need to do this. Schools can go in and they can make small adjustments as they need to. And this also offers us historical data. If we need to go in and look at information from the past. I find, this is my technical background, I find if things are simple to use and easy, they will be used. Another great thing that allows us to monitor whether they're being updated is you can see on the screen, it tells us exactly when the form was last modified and when. That allows us to have a very quick snapshot of who's updating their form and who's not. One thing that I'll use, if you click on school safety team and school health and safety, you'll see those are two that I interact with regularly. If you go into the health and safety tab, this is one that I frequent because, making sure that schools are creating their joint health and safety committees and making sure that they're updating that every year as need be.
And what value has it brought to your organization?
Well, the big thing is simplicity. Again, like the things I've talked about up till now, it is a very simple program to use. It's readily accessible. And allows us to track these drills and all these different things. It's easy for us to pull information out of Clever, and allows us to verify schools are updating their software or their system by these due dates that we have, usually by the end of September.
And Dan, before we started this recording, you talked about the tabs that were populated as an incident occurs. So specifically the bomb threat and the missing student. Could you speak to those?
Yes, like some of these tabs are going to be reactive and some of them will be proactive. Well, the bomb threat and the missing student tabs are something that we don't fill up by default, but in this situation, the unfortunate situation where we have a bomb threat or a missing student, this allows us to fill that information very quickly and have it stored in a place where it's readily accessible to all that need it, so that people don't have to go looking for the information. It's right at our fingertips, whether that's the school administration or senior administration or potentially the police.
Perfect. Dan, is there anything else we should know about this form?
I think the one thing that I like about it when I go through and I look at it, and there's a lot of things that we want to have done. Every tab filled out, but then there's some other areas there where it's there if you need it. If you go into the evacuation tab, you can see in there, oh, you're there right now, you can see that some schools will have some areas that need to be checked because they've identified some sort of a hazard. Sometimes if you go in the lower half of that, you have people that need assistance to be evacuated. That could be a temporary situation or it could be a long-term situation. Sometimes they need assistance. Sometimes they need an alternate evacuation site. Okay, that could be a person that's injured. Maybe they're at work, and I know we have in our last evacuation, we had a staff member that had a very injured ankle, and they needed an alternate location. So these are the sort of things. A great thing for people to have access to, but maybe they have other mechanisms. The other thing that I like is the school documents tab at the very end. When you have a very large school, like I work at Fredericton High School, is very large, lots of staff. They're going to have a lot of their documents in there, their evacuation procedures, their lockout button instructions, things like that. So they're at a, right at the fingertips of anybody that needs it. And we don't have any standard about what people can do. There's no limitation. They put as much or as little as they'd like to have in there.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dan.
It's my pleasure.